Alright guys, how's it going? I'm the Crown Fiend, and today we're continuing on with What If Deku was DemiFiend. I'm sorry I made you guys wait so long for this, but it's time. It's the final part. I'm putting everything else into this, and before we get started, I gotta cover a few things. So, bear with me here, because I'm just gonna make you guys wait a little bit longer before we get into this, but after that, it's all the rest of the story. So, I'm just letting you guys know that I'm about to be wrapping up every single one of my what ifs that's ongoing, and I'm completely switching the format on how I do what ifs from series into movies. So that's going to be the new norm, and don't think you're going to get less videos, because I promise you at the least you're going to get 3 a week, but I'm going to aim to give you guys 4 videos a week of all what if movies. So that leaves me with 3 days to recover and put out more. So I hope you guys enjoy, and get me to 6,000 subscribers, and I promise you that one you're going to love, because I can just already tell like that movie is going to be amazing. And I've only let a certain few people know what the 6K subscriber special is going to be, but I'm letting you guys know right now, like, it's amazing. And if you guys want to see what the next what if movie is going to be, well, it's on screen right now. This will not be the 6K special, but this will be the next what if Deku movie that I do. So I hope you guys are ready for that, and I hope you guys will enjoy that. But without further ado, let's get into this with, oh, right, one last thing. I nearly forgot about this. If you guys are gonna scream at me that I'm not using the accurate representation of a character, or that, like, without even bothering to listen to my explanations on why they're that way, then just don't watch the video. Because as much as I do enjoy, that it's getting to where it's just a nuisance. So if you guys are like so high and mighty that you guys don't like it whenever I use every aspect of a character, canon or not, and push it and formulate it into my own version of the character, then by all means, like, I'm not gonna try to keep you here. I'm not gonna try to just kiss up, because that's not me. I really don't give a fuck for that shit. I'm not the type of person that's going to try to alter what I do to just appease a few people. Like, no, I'm not like that. And this isn't me just being mean or throwing shade or bullying anybody. I'm just stating the facts here. Like, the facts have no filter, and they hurt sometimes. So yeah, that's what I like to do. I'm just keeping it 100 with you guys. But hey, with that out of the way, let's get into What If Deku Was DemiFiend, the final part. So, where we last left off, Deku, Setsuna, well, not Setsuna, but Ibara, my bad. Deku, Ibara, and Shinzo were at a restaurant. They were eating, and, Lucifer bought UA. Aizawa's been reinstated as the principal, and Ibara is seemingly trying to have Deku kill Lucifer, and Shinzo's not going to allow that. And that's making Shinzo look at Deku sideways, and it's just like, dude, are you so stupid that you really didn't know? And that type of sideways, not like, man, the fuck are you doing? Like, none of that. It's just like, how stupid are you? That type of sideways. But Shinzo's really looking at Ibara just like, the fuck you trying to get my brother killed for? Like, that's his whole logic going into this, because Shinzo's ride or die homie for Deku. Like, he's just like, you're my brother, I'm not gonna let this happen to you, and anything like that. So basically, where we pick up is right after they've left the restaurant and they're heading to Lucifer. So they get to Lucifer, and Lucifer says, what's the problem? And Shinzo immediately just says it, that a student here is trying to get Deku to fight him. And Lucifer's like, excuse me? What? And Deku says that she's trying to get him to help them take down a fallen angel that was cast out of heaven and is potentially someone who could kill me, and the only person we know that would fit that description is you. And that's when Lucifer starts laughing and says, my dear boys, there's so many more than just me. As Deku's like, huh? As he says, well, for one, you have Beelzebub, you have Satan as well. There's two more to take into consideration. And pretty much, Deku's like, Beelzebub and Satan. Aren't you and Satan the same thing? And, like, aren't you and Beelzebub the same person? Lucifer's like, my dear boy, when did you get that preconception? As Deku would hold up a book that says the Bible. Lucifer would say, that thing has so many mistranslations, it's not right. Satan was God's judge. That is why he was there. I was cast out long before Satan. I was the one who tried to overthrow God, failed, and got cast out because of my own pride. Satan, on the other hand, is the judger of humanity. He's God's tempter. He is the person who tempted Job. He is the one who is the preset that God judges all on. And he was cast out because God deemed it so, as he is written to be the final fight between God and him. As Deku's just like, okay, and Beelzebub? And basically, Lucifer says, Beelzebub followed me out of heaven. He was part of my co-spiritors who tried to take down God and overthrow him. That is why he was cast out as well. He's not nearly as powerful as me, but he is enough to hurt you. And Deku's like, I see, so you're all different. And basically, Deku just says, this is so confusing. And Lucifer says, well, the truth often is. As Shinzo's just like, I have a slight request. As Satan's like, oh, what do you need, dear boy? As he would tell Lucifer that Ibarra had a mark that allowed her to summon demons, angels, whatever the fuck they are, but it's burned onto her skin. And it's from someone named Michael. As Lucifer's grin just faded, and he's just like, Michael did that. That fucking upstart. Always trying to start shit, I swear. As Lucifer says, come here, boy. As Shinzo says, yes, he's, hold out your arm. Shinzo holds out his arm, and Lucifer grabs it and burns a symbol of marks into, Shinzo's arm, giving him a demon summoning mark that transfers all of his existing contracts over to it, but allows them to put out their max power, not limiting them because of the cell phone. Which means Shinzo just got a huge upgrade, as he's like, now this is power. As Lucifer smiles and says, now you'll be able to use all of your demons' full power. And this is when Shinzo and Deku would go on a fusing frenzy. Basically, the only demons that I'm gonna say Deku would have at this point are Alice, Huanglong, Shiva, and that's pretty much it, because the last one is saved for someone super special. And pretty much Shinzo's full arsenal of demons is, his number one now is Vishnu. So yes, Deku has Shiva, Shinzo has Vishnu, which I think is a nice little contrast there. Shinzo would also have the demon Baal as well. And for his last two, because yes, Shinzo is going to get 2 demons, he's also going to have Mott, and for his final one, I'm giving him Black Frost. So, that is all of their demons. So, with that out of the way, let's continue on. So, pretty much, as soon as that happens, like, they start their mission that Lucifer's given them to keep tabs on Ibarra at all costs. So, since she says that she doesn't want Deku talking to her, Shinzo's the one that starts talking to her. And Mina starts getting a little bit jealous because she sees that Shinzo's going after Ibarra, and in her mind she thinks that, he's really flirting with her. And that's when Deku would come up to Mina and say, "Hey, it's not like that, I promise you. He's just doing me a favor. Ibarra's kind of mad at me and he's trying to smooth things over for me." As Mina says, "Oh, he's a really good friend, isn't he?" Deku would say he's my best friend and my brother. He's the only person who's always got my back no matter what. And no matter what decision I make, he'll always cover for me. As pretty much, Mina's just like, "He's that reliable, huh?" And Deku says, "Yeah, you should tell him how you feel about him before the sports festival." And she's like, "What? Why?" And Deku says, "I don't know why, but I have a really bad feeling that something's gonna happen at the sports festival." As Mina always knows that Deku, whenever he has a bad feeling, it tends to come true. And she's just so kind of worried that Deku, someone who's the strongest person that she's ever met, is worried. So she says, "Yeah, I will," as she runs off to her friends. And pretty much Deku heads back to class as Bakugo is staring at him and just says, "You've been acting kind of weird lately." And Deku's like, "What do you mean by weird?" Shoto walks up and says, "He's right, you have been acting weird." Even Ito would walk up and say, "I have to confirm, yes, you are acting a bit weird." And Deku says, "I just have a bad feeling about the sports festival, that's all." And Bakugo says, "What type of bad feeling? Like scared or nervous?" Deku says, "Not really sure at the moment, it's just every time I think about it and it's fast approaching, I just sense that something's gonna go wrong." And Todoroki's just like, "That's concerning, especially since it's from you." And Ito would say, "We should let the teachers know about your bad feeling." And Deku's like, "It's not gonna change anything. It's a feeling from one student." And Ito says, "One very powerful student." And Deku says, "Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. I'm somewhat sure." As the 3 guys look at each other and just like, this is bad. So the next few days go by, and Ibarra finally comes to talk to Deku because she just can't handle Shinzo's pitiful performance of trying to smooth things over. As she says, "Look, if you're going to have your brother try and smooth things over for you, you should at least teach him how to be somewhat confident when doing it." And Deku's just like, Shinzo's like, "Can't help it. I got nervous." And she's like, "Damn straight he did. This is kind of embarrassing." As Deku's just like, "I'm sorry about that." And pretty much she's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm used to it." And pretty much, basically, Deku would just say, "Okay, and what's your decision about me?" She says, "Look, we're not going after Lucifer, but we are going after Satan. So, for those of you in the comments who said Satan, you were correct." And pretty much, Deku's just like, Satan, I'm down. But Lucifer needs to hear about this. And Lucifer walks up from behind and says, yes, Lucifer does need to hear about this. As Ibarra would look at Lucifer as he would not be a happy person. As Ibarra would sit down and explain everything to Lucifer and would say that Michael's just trying to take the judge out of the way. And basically, Lucifer says Satan is stronger than I am. It's not going to be an easy fight. You're going to need help. I will help you. And Ibarra's like, wait, what? And basically Lucifer says, Satan honestly has been pissing me off for the few centuries now, and I think it's about time I smacked him right across the face for how egocentric that prick is. And Deku's just like, Lucifer? And basically Lucifer says, look, when's it happening? She says, they have the sports festival. And pretty much, Lucifer just says, fine, I accept. It pains me to do this to you two, but Deku, Shinzo, you will not be participating in the sports festival. You will be heading with me to see Satan. Ibarra, you will be participating in the sports festival. As pretty much Ibarra says, absolutely. And unbeknownst to these two, there were two figures in the background making a deal with each other. As basically, the two would head off and plan for the scheme to come. As pretty much, basically, Deku tries to convince Lucifer that it should just be him and Lucifer going to fight Satan. Shinzo should stay here and get as many people watching him as possible. And Lucifer, he knows what Deku's trying to do. He's trying to spare Shinzo, as Shinzo's not wanting to back down from this. Like, he wants to have Deku's back. But Deku just looks at Shinzo and says, look, you've never been able to hurt me. And all you're going to do is get yourself killed. I can't let that happen. You once told me you weren't going to let me get killed. I'm telling you now, I'm not letting you die. So head back, please. As Lucifer would say, my son has spoken. You, Shinzo, will participate in the sports festival, or I shall strip your power from you. And basically Shinzo says, fine, I will. As Shinzo leaves, kind of disheartened, but he appreciates the sentiment. As Lucifer says, I honestly don't know if we can take them. We're gonna need help from the angels. As pretty much, he requests to meet Michael. As Michael would show up at Lucifer's house, and Deku, of course, would let him in. As Michael would say, DemiFiend? And Deku would say, yeah, I'm the new one. Come on, I'll show you to where Pops is. As Michael says, Lucifer, did you just want a son this whole time? Lucifer says, what can I say? I was a lonely man who wanted a family. Now I have a son, who just so happens to be strong. And yes, I did make him a DemiFiend. And pretty much, Michael would just say, I'm not even going to question this. Because I know it's, the only reason and logic for it is because you're Lucifer. You do whatever the fuck you want. Now tell me, what the hell am I doing here in your pitiful fucking house? As Deku would say, you need to watch your mouth. Michael would say, you dare challenge me, boy? Deku says, I'll make you submit and turn you into a summon. And pretty much, Michael says, the boy's got balls. And Lucifer says he's powerful enough to back it up. As pretty much, Michael says, "Are you telling me this boy is more powerful than I am?" Lucifer says, "No, I'm more powerful than you. I'm saying he's as powerful as you. It'd be a close fight." As Deku's just like, "Wait, I'm only as powerful as this guy?" And Michael will just say, "This guy has a name." And Deku's like, yeah, the winged cunt over there." And Michael's just like, "This boy disrespecting me. I'm gonna smack him." Deku says, "You smack me, I'll rip your wing off." And Michael's just like, "You son of a bitch." And Deku's just like, "Hey, don't you call my mother a bitch." And basically, the two just start going back and forth, arguing with each other as, Lucifer says, "Michael, are you really going to be taken down to a kid's level?" And Michael's just like, "Fine. What is it, Lucifer? Why am I here?" Lucifer says, "I'm agreeing to help you with Satan." And Michael says, "Satan? What do you mean?" And Lucifer's like, "You told Ibarra that you were going to fight Satan and wanted to recruit my son, Izuku." And basically, Michael's like, "I never said any of that." And basically, Michael would say, "Look, I'm late on time. God's about to have a meeting. We're going to pick this up tomorrow." And which tomorrow is the sports festival. And Lucifer says, "Fine." So he tells Michael where to meet him. Since he's the, head person that owns UA, Lucifer kind of has to be there. And Deku's going to be there, but not as a competitor. So, pretty much, Michael leaves to go attend God's meeting. The next day comes. They're at the sports festival. Michael appears in a suit right behind Lucifer, and Deku's right there beside him in a jacket, baggy shirt, some pants, and tennis shoes. He's really not caring. As for the sports festival event, they're just on the race part, and pretty much Shinzo's dominating it. And Ibarra's really close up behind him. So pretty much they're talking as Michael says, "I fear that there will be a coup in heaven soon. Perhaps taking Satan out of the way is what one of them wants. So that way, Satan won't be a problem and won't interfere. Because even though he's supposed to fight God at the end of times, now is not that time. He will protect God." And pretty much, Lucifer and Satan go back and forth saying that who it could be. And that's when a huge flash of light and the earth below starts to crack and hellfire starts to spew out. As the scene is starting to become more hellish, as the skies look more like heaven, the earth is looking more like hell. Multiple pro heroes are evacuating, as the civilians are running in fear, as a man appears that looks like a giant fly, holding a staff with human skulls all over it, as he says, "The name's Beelzebub, the new ruler of hell." And that's when a golden metallic looking angel starts coming down from the heavens, as he says, "The name is Metatron. I will be the new ruler of heaven. God has forsaken you all." As he starts heading down, as he sees Beelzebub, and Lucifer thinks it's about to be a good fight. Beelzebub versus Metatron, something that hasn't been seen for a very long time. But no, they don't fight. They shake hands and say, "You ready?" As Michael would rush out saying, "Metatron, what is this heresy that you speak of?" As pretty much Metatron one-shots Michael and tells Beelzebub he's free to kill him. Ibarra would come running to the aid of Michael, as Metatron would say, "Ah, Ibarra, my darling." It is so good to see you. As she would like say, I don't know you. As Metatron would point to the mark and say, I gave you that mark. And she's like, what? No, Lord Michael did. As Michael would say, I've never seen you before. As Metatron will reveal, he used Michael's voice to call out to her. He is the one who has been perpetrating her. He is the one that has been manipulating all the events that would lead to her confronting the DemiFiend and distracting him, and in turn would distract Lucifer enough that him and Beelzebub could manipulate events behind his back. And now it's time to kill 3 burdens with 1 stone. As Lucifer would jump down, as he would transform into his magnificent form of the black demonic man with the red wings behind and the white garbs over his body, as he would crush down onto the earth and say, Beelzebub, you have betrayed me for the last time. As Metatron would say, I don't think he has. As he would hit Lucifer with a most powerful, blessed skill, and that would hurt Lucifer significantly. And that's when Deku would spring into action, ripping the clothes off, as he would call for Alice, as Alice would rush down there and hit Metatron with darkness, as she would say, die for me, and would point the finger at Metatron. But Metatron would hold Michael up instead, and Michael would get hit with the curse spell, as it would start killing Michael instantly. As Deku's just like, no! And basically Metatron says, do you think I would come unprepared for this fight? I will kill you all, slowly, painfully. As he says, all spawns of Lucifer must die. As pretty much that is when Satan would come up from beneath the ground, as he would appear and would say, stop your meaningless fights. As that's when Metatron would say, oh, I don't think so. As Lucifer is crawling on the ground, as he would say, Satan, I need a favor. As Satan would say, I do not take requests from you, Lucifer. As Lucifer would say, it's important. Damn it. This could be the very well end of me. Won't you at least honor me with a final request? As basically Deku's just like, final request? No. And that's when he's going all out. He's using a lot of his life force to use attacks, as it's draining his stamina and life force fast, as he's coughing up blood, just constantly trying to harm Metatron, which he does do a good amount, but with Beelzebub there also attacking Deku, it's not getting very far. And since Ibarra never really took to summoning other high level demons, all she did was summon power, and Michael's able to manipulate power into not attacking, but instead attacking Deku, which means Ibarra's summons are useless. As Shinzo would call out his, but he would be quickly swarmed with demons, as he would be overwhelmed, and basically that's when the pro heroes would try to help, but it would be a slaughter. Endeavor would be eaten alive by some of the demons that Beelzebub summoned, as others would quickly spread throughout the land. It would be mass destruction, chaos everywhere, as Deku would say, no, damn it, as he would fall down, as that's when he would be healed, as he's just like, who did that? As he would look up and see it was Pixie, she's come of her own free will to help Deku. As she would say, "Don't worry, I'm here for you." As Deku would say, "I left you behind for a reason. I didn't want you getting hurt. You were the first person that actually wanted to help me. I couldn't let you die." As Pixie would just say, "Stupid boy, I'm here to help you. Now rest and I'll heal you more." As Pixie starts to heal Deku more and more, Beelzebub sees this and is just like, healing him won't work, he'll just kill himself quicker. As that's when Shinzo just says, "Enough," as he would pull out fucking Mott again, and this time he would hit all demons surrounding him with an almighty move, killing them. As he says, "Megidolon," as he just keeps spamming Megidolon. As Deku would see Alice and would just say, "That's right, I did skill inherit you, Megidolon, as well." As he would say, "Alice, Megidolon," as Alice would spam Megidolon along with it, but also use more dark moves that would hurt a lot of the angels and would end up killing a lot of them, including Ibarra's summons, which means she now has 0. Ibarra would be on her knees crying in defeat, as that's when Deku would rush over there and grab her and run. As he just says, "We can't survive this fight. We have to run. We have to get reinforcements here." As that's when Deku gets hit with wind, as he's just like, "Alright, who's the wise guy that's trying to use elemental attacks on me?" As he would see this guy in a full fucking leather getup with fur on him and a stupid hat, as he would say, "The name's Inasa, and I'm gonna take you out." As pretty much he would look up and say, "Lord Metatron, will you allow me to use my demons?" And pretty much Metatron would just say, "I highly encourage it." As Deku's just like, "Alright, go ahead, pull out whoever you're gonna fucking use." As Inasa would pull out Loki, as well as pulling out Surt, and then Samuel and Seth, as he would just say, "Kill him." Deku would just tank all their attacks and would rush at them, as he would smack each and every one of them, killing them, as he would rush to Inasa, as Shinzo would say, "Go, you have to protect Ibarra. I will deal with this fucking jerk off." As basically Inasa would say, "Ah, fresh slaughter," as he would start getting serious, as he would call down Thor, Ishtar, Susanoo, and ultimately the final person that he would call down would be called Mastema, as Mastema would come down and would just say, "It's been a while since I've been called. Let's kill this brat quickly." As Deku would just say, "Damn it," as Lucifer would get up and would just say, "Satan, take them and go, please." As pretty much Satan would say, "Very well." As he would take Deku, Ibarra, and Shinzo, ripping him from his battle with Inasa, as he would disappear. As pretty much Lucifer would get up and say, "This is where you realize who you're messing with." As all of the armies of heaven would look at Lucifer, his size gigantic. The whole country of Japan could see Lucifer. as Metatron would grow in size to his full size, being able to be seen, as well as Lucifer, as Beelzebub would do the same, as he would say, "I don't think you're gonna survive this, old man." As Lucifer says, "And neither will you, Beelzebub." As Lucifer calls down the morning star, as it would hit Beelzebub, since he was already damaged quite heavily with Deku fighting him as well as Metatron, but Metatron would have angels healing him. Beelzebub, not so much. So when this hits, Beelzebub would die, as Beelzebub would hit the ground dead, as basically Metatron would be hurting, but then he would use the skill Hama, which would hurt Lucifer even more, as Lucifer would be, gritting and clutching his teeth, and he would just say, "Damn, this hurts," as basically he would continue fighting, as Deku would watch and knowing that he can do nothing to help his own father, as Metatron would continue his attacks more and more. Lucifer would be doing damage, but not enough to seriously kill Metatron, as Lucifer would fall and die by Metatron's hand, as well as all the other angels that were using blessed skills on Lucifer, as Lucifer would fall dead and would dissipate. Deku would see, and his eyes would widen. Tears would fall down his face as he would say, "No. No." And he would scream out no, as he would be building up with his hatred, his rage, his drive to kill Metatron. He will have his head for this, as his anger causes his power to go out of control. He would be summoning all the demons he ever had before, as he would look at Lucifer's dead corpse, still dissipating. Then he would look back at Satan, and he would tell Satan he's going to fight him here and now. As Satan would say, "You will lose." And Deku would say, "I do not care." As Ibara would say, "We need to get stronger to take them out." Shinzo would say, "Yeah, that Inasa guy, he's mine." As Satan would just say, "You're already skilled enough to take out Inasa, Shinzo." As he said, "Then why didn't you let me finish that fight?" As basically Satan would say, "You would have died." Shinzo's like, "What do you mean?" Deku says, "Your stamina was low. He would have lasted longer than you would have. You would have died." And basically Shinzo's just like, "Damn it! The one chance I had to take out someone, and I let it fall apart." And pretty much Deku's just like, "This isn't over. Not by a long shot. He'll feel my rage. I will kill them all." As Satan says, "Look, I know you're angry. This is no time to be mourning. You need to train. I shall train you." As he says, "But I will also call upon one final person." And he would say to Ibara that this person can help her become stronger. As Ibara would say, "Really? Who is it?" As Odin would step forth, as he would say, "It is I, the All-Father. I shall become your summons." As Ibara would say, "Yes, All-Father." As he would make a pact with Ibara peacefully. As the days would go on, the world would get more and more bleak. Humanity trying to survive, crowding itself behind just an unimaginable amount of people hiding in shelters, as it would be unable to do anything about the demons or the angels that are out to kill them. As with Beelzebub gone, Metatron is the one ruling the earth, trying to transform it into his ideal version of blind servitude towards him, as he would be smiling, as he would just say, Lucifer's dead, Beelzebub's gone, the only one I have to worry about now is Satan, and that, well, that fight's gonna take a while. So I've got nothing left to worry about. But meanwhile, the weeks would end up racking up, as Deku would end up training, his muscle mass growing, his command and spell repertoire increasing, as he would know lots of almighty moves now for himself personally to use. As going on, Satan would realize Deku's rapid growth, it'll one day surpass him. Satan would smile, as Deku would decide that he needs stronger demons. He needs more. So, he would sacrifice Long, kicking him out of his party, as he would then fight Mother Harlot, as he would beat her into submission, as she would join him. And along with him, he would also have no longer anybody else except for Alice and Mother Harlot. And eventually, he would get Trumpeter as well. And then he would be strong enough that he would feel like to test Satan. And Satan would accept his fight. As they would fight, after months of training on Deku's end, the world would pretty much be in a state of array. Humanity almost wiped out, as Shinzo would be growing stronger and stronger as well. He would be able to summon Black Rider, White Rider, Red Rider, and Pale Rider, as he would have all four of the riders. Ibara, she would have Odin himself on her team, as well as others. She would have some of the most powerful ones, including Attis, which I'm just buffing Attis for this one. And she would also have Amaterasu as a good one as well. Pretty much, she would have a full-powered force, and her ultimate final one that she would call forth would actually be one of the demons that she fought against, Ishtar. Since Ishtar would have had a change of heart. So, Ibara's final ones are Odin. She would have Amaterasu, Ishtar, and Lilith. I'm throwing Lilith in there as well. So those would be hers. And pretty much Deku would be set, because he would finish his fight and Satan would submit to him. Meaning Deku's final person is Satan, the ultimate demon in his repertoire. As Deku would say, "We're ready." So they would head out. As for the final battle of the Earth, basically, the villains were all wiped out. Shigaraki, All for One, Chisaki, Stain, none of them, even Redestro and the Liberation Army, because Metatron was very thorough, and with Inasa tracking them down as well, they really wouldn't stand a chance. So, the more that time would go on, Deku would finally be standing face to face with Inasa, as kind of like a final blockade before he gets to Metatron. Which Metatron would be up in a tower, sitting on a throne. So, Shinzo would just say, "This guy's mine." As Ibarra would say, sorry, but I'm gonna step in as well. It would be a 2-on-1 Demon Summoners versus Inasa. As Inasa would say, very well then. So, Deku would run on ahead, as he would be trusting that they could handle him. And pretty much, Inasa would say, you know that pink-skinned girl that you were so sweet on? I actually found that out. And basically Shinzo's just like, the fuck are you talking about? What did you do to Mina? And Shinzo says, nothing. Rather than put her in chains and imprison her for being a heretic. As basically, Shinzo would say, you know, I'm a man of faith myself. But what you are nothing but evil. And I will eliminate you here and now. As he would tell Ibarra to go and free Mina and the others. Ibarra would agree as she would run off to free them. Shinzo would face down Inasa. As Inasa would open his mouth and Shinzo would just use his quirk right then and there and say, kill yourself. And Inasa would do so. He would end up killing himself. As basically the demons say, you know, you could have summoned us. And, you know, Shinzo notices he's getting surrounded by more demons that really won't work on. He says, well, I'm summoning you now. Get ready for a fight. As all of the riders would appear, as demons would just be like, oh shit, it's the riders. As pretty much, Shinzo would just be like, now this is fun as fuck. Jumping on the back of Red Rider's horse and would ride around with them, commanding them and supplying them with the energy they need to complete their attacks. As pretty much, the more they would attack, the more demons that would die, as Shinzo would ride up there to where Deku is to back him up. As Ibarra gets down there, as there was a plethora of demons guarding the cells, as Ibarra would wipe them out with Odin, as Odin would say, none have the power to stand up to me. And that's when she opens up the gates and frees everyone. And Mina would thank her as they would run off, along with all the other classmates they had. Because most of the classmates didn't actually die, they were just imprisoned. As pretty much, the only one that did die was Bakugo, since he did try to fight Metatron. And pretty much, Deku gets up there to where Metatron is at, and he would say, Metatron, I've come to kill you. As Metatron would say, oh, the little fiend, I've almost forgotten about you. As Deku would just look at him and say, I don't care. I'm here now and I'll make you remember everything you've cost me. Every single ounce of pain. As he would just say, come. And pretty much he would say, oh, very well then, prepare to die. As the final battle would take place, Deku versus Metatron. As he would call out his demons, as he would also call out Satan. As Satan would appear in his 10-headed dragon form. And basically Metatron would be panicked. He would try his best to use skill after skill, Deku walking through them all. Metatron would say, forget it, and hit Deku with an almighty attack, as that would be one of the only things that could hurt him. Deku would fall back, as he would grit his teeth and use an almighty move right back. It would be almighty versus almighty attacks, back and forth, as Deku would hit Metatron square in the face, knocking him off the building as they would fall. They would hit the earth as it would shatter beneath their feet. The fight would continue, with Deku raining blow after blow, almighty attack after almighty attack. Satan hitting him from the back as all of Deku's other demons would hit him from the sides, as Deku would be overwhelming Metatron, as he would say, all these months, there was only one thing that I could think of. Killing you! Getting revenge. You killed Lucifer, manipulated Ibarra, that in turn manipulated me, Shinzo, distracted Lucifer. It ended up causing this world to be in hell. You die! As pretty much Shinzo would be running over there, as he would finally be able to catch up to Deku and would command the Pale Riders to destroy Metatron along with them, as Deku and Shinzo would be back to back, as they would say, brothers, brothers, as their hands would connect, as they would say, Megi Dolon. And with that, it would be the final attack to put the nail in the coffin on Metatron, as he would start to dissipate and die. As Metatron would look up, as he would say, you know, this was one hell of a life. See ya in hell, kids. As he would die. And pretty much with Metatron gone, a lot of the angels would return to heaven, as Ibarra would come running with the other students, as Deku would drop down to his knees in exhaustion. He just had the fight of his life, as Satan would put his hands on his shoulder and would just say, you did good. I'm proud of you. As pretty much Deku would say thank you. It means a lot. As he would say, Lucifer would be proud. It's gonna take a while, but we can clean up the rest of these demons. Humanity can rebuild. And this time, more people need to be given the power to summon demons. Your quirks just simply cannot compete. Even though they are enhanced as they are, they will eventually destroy your bodies from the inside. You need to rely and build a relationship with the demons, so that way less demons will come and destroy the world, as others would be more exuberant to help others. As basically Deku would say, of course, as the next few months would go by, humanity would start rebuilding, as Deku, Shinzo, and Ibarra, along with Mina now, since she now has the power to summon demons, would be hunting them down. Mina and Shinzo's relationship would have blossomed, as it would have led to Shinzo being a father, as he would be ecstatic at this news. He would hug Mina as they would settle down. The years come and go, as Deku and Ibarra would actually end up being married. Shinzo being, Deku's best man. As Shinzo would hug him and would say, you finally did it, fiend boy. You got married. As Deku would say, yeah, to a Christian nonetheless. As pretty much Shinzo would say, this is one hell of a marriage, but gotta say, I'm glad you didn't die out there. As Deku would say, of course, same goes to you. And pretty much, they would live happily, but the demons would still be a threat. So Deku would always have something to do. As the day would fade out, the demons would rise. But the DemiFiend would be there to end all demons' lives. This has been What If Deku Was DemiFiend. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, I've been the Crown Fiend. Peace.